Catholic Church for one reason, okay? It's because it's two reasons. When I was in the Catholic Church, the occult world received a sanction from Pope Paul that white witchcraft was permissible for Catholics to practice. And second, I can watch Catholic Mass. I can go in and write our Masses down, our rites in witchcraft, and let you read them as they go through them in the Catholic Church. Most of the doctrine of the saints, the doctrine of the mighty ones in witchcraft. The doctrine of the wine being turned to blood, that's in witchcraft. Okay? The doctrine almost of everything, the altar, minus the knife, is the only thing missing on the Catholic altar from the witchcraft altar. And in some countries, not America, not the knife, but the scourge, which is also on the witchcraft altar, is laid on the Catholic altar. And most of all the doctrines of the virgins, the nuns, the doctrines of the priesthood, and so these are all come from the temples of Diana in Rome and were invested into the Christian church at the Nicene Council. Okay? It was back when the witches got smart. They said, if we can't beat them, we'll join them. And they've been doing it ever since.
a lot of our they're not shy about explaining to you really what they believe and what they hold to. Aren't. You just have to look at it through the eyes of the scriptures. Everything around you. Listen to me. When you start studying this thing of the New World Order and you start understanding the spirit behind it, you will start to see things that you have never seen before. God will reveal things to you because you're starting to get a spirit of discernment that God, it's a gift of discernment that God gives. If you yield to the Holy Ghost and you're willing to see these things, they're all around you. You're going to see these. And
interesting enough, Brother Nate, they never lost their Greek kind of flair.
Never.
It always had that flair of Greek, the Greek gods and other things that were kind of in there. They just kind of changed the names, didn't they, a little bit, and just kind of.
They pretty much did. The Romans didn't invent any gods.
Wow.
Except one, Janus.
Wow.
They stole it all from the Greeks and they just renamed them all.
Well, because the kingdoms and the spirit of those kingdoms are the absolute same. They're the
Same
spirit of
exact thing.
Antichrist. That's what we're trying to drive home to you as we lead up to that Roman Catholic Church. That's what we're trying to explain to you, that the spirit is all the same. Talk about this certain title that these men
Caesars had. No,
that's right.
That title is called Pontifex Maximus. This title is the Pontifex Maximus was the high priest of the College of Pontiffs in ancient Rome. Now you may ask, what was the College of Pontiffs? I'd be glad to explain that for you. The College of Pontiffs was a body of the ancient Roman state whose members were the highest-ranking priests of the state religion. Yes, there was a state religion. So the college consisted of the Pontifex Maximus and other pontifices, the Rex Sacrorum, the 15 Flamens, and the Vestals. So we'll explain what that is later. Okay. What were the Flamens? This is interesting to see. This is what we're looking at is the paganism of
exactly.
the Roman Empire. Okay, so this is how because this was directly integrated with their government.
That's right.
Was their pagan religion.
Church-state mixed.
Okay, so the Flamens were priests in charge of 15 official cults of Roman religion, each assigned to a particular god. This stuff is it was a pretty intricate system.
Yep.
To explain, the Vestal Virgins were priestesses of Vesta, goddess of the hearth. The College of the Vestals and its well-being were regarded as fundamental to the continuance and security of Rome. I just think this is really fascinating. They were dead serious about this. That if it wasn't for this whole system of worshiping their false gods, their false religion, they didn't think that the empire could continue and be secure.
Right. Absolutely.
You know? And they cultivated the sacred fire that was not allowed to go out. The sacred fire that was not allowed to go out. I think that's interesting. The Vestals were freed from the usual social obligations to marry and bear children, and took a vow of chastity in order to devote themselves to the study and correct observance of state rituals that were off limits to the male colleges of priests. Now, what does that sound like?
Some Catholic nuns.
I think it does. What a coincidence. Would you like to
Pontifex Maximus.
read the next part? Yep.
Yes, this was the most important position in the ancient Roman religion. The term pontifex literally means bridge builder.
Now, this is very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Bridge builder. What does that mean?
It literally means...
and then Maximus.
Yeah, then Maximus literally means greatest. This was perhaps originally meant in literal sense. That bridge builder, what does that mean exactly? We're going to hear that bridge builder is interesting. Somebody else talked about a bridge builder in some of his works, and we're going to talk about him too a little bit. But there's more to the story of bridge building than what it appears to be with what we're talking about so far here. But this was perhaps originally meant in a literal sense. The position of a bridge builder was indeed an important one in Rome, where the major bridges went over the Tiber, the sacred river, and a deity. Only prestigious authorities with sacral functions could be allowed to disturb it with mechanical additions. However, it always understood in its symbolic sense as well, the pontifices were the ones who smoothed the bridges between gods and men.
And there you have the sense of that word.
Bridge builder.
The bridge builder, the Pontifex Maximus. They smoothed the bridge between the gods and men.
That's right.
That's where that position comes from.
And Numa Pompilius, who was the first king of Rome after Romulus, established the office and duties of Pontifex Maximus. Numa was traditionally celebrated by the Romans for his wisdom and piety. And according to the Augustan-era historian Livy, Numa Pompilius, a Sabian, devised Rome's system of religious rites. Now, that's going to be interesting later on, okay, even more, including the manner of timing and of sacrifices, the supervision of religious funds, authority over all public and private religious institutions. Hey, wait a minute. I'm starting to see a pattern here of control. Are you?
That's right.
Yeah, that's interesting. Instructions of all the populace and celestial and funerary rites, including appeasing the dead, an expiation of prodigies. Numa is said to have founded Roman religion after dedicating an altar on the Aventine Hill to Jupiter.
To Jupiter.
Yeah. And consulting the gods by means of augury. We talked about that before.
That's
There it
right.
is again.
Yep.
Numa wrote down and sealed these religious instructions and gave them to the first Pontifex Maximus.
Numa Martius. Yeah, he was technically the first Pontifex Maximus. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. And Numa Pompilius is supposed to have been in a direct and personal relationship with a number of deities.
Isn't it? I just find it interesting what you're about to read. Everything that they say, every position, like we learn, it always had its foundation in some form of idolatry, some form of paganism. Every single thing. First of all, if seeing the history of all this, of where the term and the title, the position of Pontifex Maximus comes from in the pagan Roman Empire, it comes from a pagan man who had communications with a female deity who explained to him all the positions, the details of this position, and then later that title is taken upon by popes. Now, tell me, how does that make sense when they're supposed to be Christians? Really explain that to me.
Yeah,
how that makes any
the only way
sense.
that it makes sense is the prophecy that was foretold about that fourth kingdom to come, that would be diverse from all kingdoms of the earth, and that these Pontifex Maximuses, they assume the title of the Caesars with their temporal power and their spiritual power, Brother Nate. That's the only way it makes sense, is that they are Antichrist and not Christ.
This is what we're trying to transition to you over and try to show you. We have the pagan Roman Empire, and we had the Caesars controlling this kingdom, And then we move on to the Roman Catholic Church, and these popes have the same exact title as the Caesars. Same spirit. That's why. It's the same exact spirit, same exact kingdom, actually, the fourth kingdom. After the Roman Empire fell, what rose from its ashes? The Roman Catholic Church. And that's what we believe. That is the power of Antichrist, and it is an Antichrist kingdom, which is headed by Antichrist kings, just like all the other kingdoms, right? There was the Antichrist kingdom, and then there was the head of that Antichrist kingdom, an Antichrist figure.
That's right.
And now we have what in the Catholic Church? A dynasty of Antichrist.
Right, that say they're the vicar of Christ. They are Christ on earth. They have more authority. They're Pontifex Maximus.
Pontifex Maximus. And Pontifex Maximus, that bridge builder between the gods and men, that's really what that means is they're the high priest of the mystery religions of the world.
That's right.
And guess what? The popes are still saying that they are this high priest of the mystery religions of the world today.
That's right. Yeah, here's the thing you have to understand. All of them at the top of any of these organizations or groups, all of them work together. They are all in the occult. They are all in many of these groups. They are all working together. They're not enemies.
So, a quick comment about that. So, in the occult, there are statues, jewelry, paintings, books, and they're what is known as charged objects. They have a devils attached to them. Through them, you have them in your house. You got a gateway for devils to be in your house.
That's right.
And what's interesting about that is they had in the Catholic Church has images, statues, paintings, and supposedly there are miracles connected with these images,
right?
Such as statues crying blood, and these images conferring miracles upon people, miracle healings. So and we know this isn't the work of God because the Catholic Church is not of God. Then these miracles must be coming from another source.
That's right.
Which would be devils.
That's right.
What did Paul say about the idols? He said the idol's not anything, but the things with the Gentile sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils. That's right. Behind idols are devils.
That's right.
So that's all it is. All these statues and paintings of the Catholic Church that have any miracles associated with them are just a bunch of devils.
That's right.
It's demonic power. I know that Freemasonry has been called the craft. I've heard some talk about that. I know there's witchcraft.
There's witchcraft.
I know that craft in the Bibles also refers to lying, the art of deception.
All right, here's the Bible here, Acts chapter 19, verse number 35. And when the town clerk had appeased the people, he said, Ye men of Ephesus, what man is there that knoweth not how the city of the Ephesians is a worshiper of the great goddess Diana, and of the image which fell down from Jupiter? Moreover, you see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost through all Asia, this Paul hath persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands, so that not only this our craft is in danger,
here we go,
to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth, and the world worshipeth. Who is this Diana, Nate?
She's the mother goddess.
She is, isn't she? She is Isis, right?
Well, anyway, so the craft was in danger.
That there be no gods made with the hands, and all the world. And when they heard these things, they were full of wrath, and everybody got ticked. Why did everybody? That was in the Cooley version right there.
Right.
Why did everybody get ticked? Because everybody got mad because they were stealing.
They were losing money.
They were losing money. The money was going, and this is so. Isn't it neat how in history we find the same truth to be there? That this is exactly what happened. They were. It's all about the bucks. It's all about the money.
That's right.
Just like today, most churches are about bodies, bucks, and buildings, right? That's what they're about.
Nickels and noses.
That's right. They became very zealous then for the honor of the gods. And for the made. Oh, let me back up here a little bit. The carved objects, the engraved images, the amulets, upon which, like that Demetrius of the Scriptures, who made silver shrines for Diana, they became very zealous for the honor of the gods.
Whoa, hold on. We're talking about the same God here.
That's
Goddess.
right, we are.
Diana.
How about that? Diana. Great is Diana of the Ephesians. And all of Asia worshipped her.
And all the world.
That's right, in all the world.
Yeah,
in order to restore the worship of the gods and their own accustomed income.